So what would it look like for you if it were different? If you didn't have that responsibility and if they weren't leaning on you, what would your life look like? What would you be doing?
Oh, I would have soared higher.
You think so?
Absolutely. I feel like I'm angry at everybody in my family. I don't like my family. If they weren't my family, they wouldn't be my friends.
70 million in sales and you got $1,972? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
No, the burden on you is the one that made it out. But you gotta be willing to let them fly.
I feel like I do. I feel like they don't let me.
Toni Braxton didn't just hold the mic, she held the entire Braxton legacy on her back. And now she's finally saying out loud what everyone's been whispering for years. She was the money, the muscle, and the emotional glue holding that family together. From the moment she was old enough to sing a note, Toni wasn't just performing, she was providing. The others? They were living large in the front row, smiling for the cameras while she carried all the weight behind the curtain. And it's all catching up to her, physically, mentally, and emotionally. For decades, Toni's been the backbone, the breadwinner, and the babysitter all rolled into one. And now she's finally done pretending everything's fine. Behind all that sparkle from Braxton family values, there was chaos, jealousy, arguments, and unspoken bitterness. A family so comfortable depending on Toni that they forgot she was human too. She's been especially calling out Trina and Towanda, and not in a soft way either. She accused them of crossing serious lines, taking from her, using her kindness, and making her feel guilty for not giving more when she'd already given everything. That's the kind of betrayal no amount of fame or money can heal. Fans saw sisterhood and smiles, but behind those reality TV moments, Toni was breaking down, emotionally drained, financially stretched, and left wondering who was really in her corner. And now she's ready to talk. So get your popcorn because this family drama is deeper than we thought. The Braxtons are back on TV and baby, it's messy. From the outside, Toni always looked untouchable, the voice, the awards, the glam. But underneath that red carpet glow, she was miserable. Let's keep it real. Long before most of us even knew how to spell Grammy, Toni was stacking them up. She redefined R&B, set the bar high, and built a brand that kept her whole family eating good. But while she gave the world her voice, her family treated her success like it was community property, and she's finally saying no more. Toni Braxton isn't just an artist, she's a living legend. 7 Grammys, over 70 million records sold, and a voice so soulful it could make you cry at the club and in church. But here's the heartbreak. After all those decades of hard work, she doesn't have much left to show for it. Can you believe that?
70 million in sales and you got $1,972? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Let's rewind to where it all started. Severn, Maryland. 6 kids, 1 gospel-singing mama, and more dreams than money in the house. Toni was the oldest, and when their mom suffered a serious accident that left her hospitalized for months, the entire family dynamic flipped overnight. Toni went from being a little girl with big dreams to being a full-time caretaker. She cooked, cleaned, and made sure her siblings had food on the table, basically stepping into her mother's shoes before she even hit adulthood. Their dad tried to hold things down financially, working long hours to keep the lights on.
About 13 or 14, my mom, she had a really bad accident. She fell. Her back was really messed up, so she was in hospital a long time. And so I was the surrogate parent for a moment.
Where was Dad?
Working, had to make a living, had 6 kids.
But when Toni's star finally started to rise in the early 90s, with classics like Unbreak My Heart and Breathe Again, the vibe at home changed quick. Instead of celebrating her success, her own family allegedly started seeing her as their personal ATM. That's when things took a dark turn. Toni recently admitted she's been emotionally and financially drained for years, carrying the Braxton name and all the Braxton bills. Rent? She covered it. Car notes? Hers? Failed business ventures? She funded them too. She didn't drop dollar for dollar receipts, but she made it crystal clear. They rinsed her pockets dry. And while Toni doesn't always say names, fans can connect the dots. It's no secret that Trina and Towanda were knee-deep in the money drama. She claimed they didn't just expect emotional support, they wanted to get paid for working with her. Meanwhile, Tamar, for all her public chaos, was the only one showing real loyalty, singing backup for free, helping out, and never asking for a dime. Toni even revealed how deep it went. Trina was sending invoices, Towanda had an executive assistant title with a paycheck, yet neither one truly had Toni's back when she needed them most. Even their mom leaned heavily on her, forgetting that Toni had her own limits too. When Toni said, "I could have soared higher if I didn't have to carry so much," you could feel that pain. That's not just a quote. That's decades of pressure, sacrifice, and heartbreak bottled into one sentence. And that right there is the truth behind the glamour.
They weren't leaning on you. What would your life look like? What would you be doing?
Oh, I would have soared higher.
This Braxton family drama, oh, it's just getting started. What began as one sister's heartbreak is now cracking open a vault full of secrets, lies, jealousy, and the kind of betrayal that could tear a family apart for good. And believe it or not, Tamar, not in the cute way. For Toni Braxton, it's been emotional storms, financial hurricanes, and physical exhaustion all rolled into one. At this point in her career, Toni was a certified pop icon, chart-topping hits, worldwide tours, and a voice that defined an era. But behind the scenes, she was barely holding herself together while holding everyone else up. Imagine juggling fame, family, and finances, all while people you love are playing in your face and taking advantage when you're at your lowest. The disrespect she faced during her toughest times, beyond words. And let's talk about the biggest shocker. Despite selling over 170 million records across the globe, Toni wasn't even close to being set for life. You'd think she'd be swimming in money, right? Wrong. She was earning 35 cents per album. 35 cents! That's not even enough for a pack of gum. She was feeding an entire record label empire while her own bank account was starving. When Toni finally said enough and sued her label in 1998, it looked like she was ready to take back her power. But just 8 weeks later, boom, bankruptcy, again. And before anyone jumps to conclusions, no, it wasn't wild spending or mismanagement. She was trapped in a predatory record deal that forced her to pay back the label for everything: studio time, stylists, music videos, photo shoots, even the hotels they made her stay in. She was basically funding her own fame and getting crumbs in return. But the public didn't realize just how bad things were until that infamous sit-down with Oprah. It should have been a moment of empathy, one legend showing love to another. Instead, it turned into one of the coldest interviews of Toni's career. Oprah looked her dead in the eye and hit her with that, "If you're so famous, why are you broke?"
That you were upset about stories that your overspending caused this. Because it would appear, and you can explain to us whatever you want to explain to us, but it would appear that even if you don't believe that you got the percentages you felt that you got, you still knew that there was a certain amount of money coming in. Exactly. And you overspent that amount of money.
Well, I was doing math. 1 + 1 is 2 all day long, all across the world.
Energy, right on national TV. The whole world watched Toni's confidence crumble in real time. She came expecting understanding, but walked away humiliated. And that moment, it broke something in her. Behind that calm smile was a woman who'd just been publicly shamed for surviving an industry that chews women up and spits them out. That Oprah interview didn't just sting. It shattered Toni Braxton's public image. One minute, fans saw her as a strong survivor, and the next, people were calling her careless and ungrateful.
What happened?
Because I allowed all my finances to become everyone else's finances. That's pretty much how I got here.
But here's where it gets even messier. Word on the street is that Oprah allegedly tipped off Toni's record label before the interview, warning them that Toni might spill the tea about her unfair contract. Like, who does that? Instead of supporting a fellow Black woman fighting for her truth, it felt like Oprah chose the suits over the sisterhood, siding with the same industry execs that exploited Toni in the first place. And just like that, a single interview became a career setback. The sympathy she deserved vanished overnight. But being the fighter she is, Toni tried to rebuild, to take back her name, her health, and her peace. But life wasn't done testing her yet. Fast forward to 2010, and boom, tragedy struck again. Toni was diagnosed with microvascular angina and lupus, two serious conditions that forced her to cancel her high-paying Las Vegas residency. Imagine the heartbreak of watching your dream gig crumble while your body literally betrays you. And to make it worse, her insurance didn't cover a thing. Every cost, The stage setup, production team, lighting, hotels, dancers, musicians, all came straight out of Toni's pocket. Within months, she was drowning in bills and forced to file for bankruptcy again. And just when you think the storm might finally calm down, here comes the IRS and the California Franchise Tax Board knocking like unwanted guests. Court filings revealed the IRS slapped her with a tax lien for $340,252.99 in back taxes for 2017. Then, California's Franchise Tax Board piled on another $116,154.64, bringing her total to a jaw-dropping $456,407.63. Both agencies told Toni to pay up fast or risk losing her property. How does a woman who's still touring, still pulling crowds, still looking flawless, and still performing with heart end up this deep in debt again? It's tragic, but insiders say this wasn't just about bad contracts or health issues, it was about family. Behind closed doors, Toni was still playing caretaker, paying bills, supporting relatives, and carrying everyone's emotional baggage on her back.
None of my siblings have helped me take care of my mother to make sure she was okay, except for Tamar. No one said,
This is before Vincent.
Before Vince, Mommy's car insurance is due. Let's help Toni with Mommy car insurance.
Every time she tried to rise, someone or something was pulling her back down. And when the cameras rolled for Braxton Family Values, the world finally got a glimpse of the truth. That same financial pressure had been simmering beneath the surface for years, waiting to explode in public view. When Braxton Family Values hit its peak, things behind the cameras were way uglier than anyone imagined. Reports say the sisters were beefing hard over money. Mainly because Toni and Tamar were getting paid way more than the others. It got so tense that production had to shut down filming. Sources say Toni straight up walked off set saying she was done for good. And honestly, can you blame her? After everything she's been through, the health battles, the bankruptcies, the shady contracts, and now her own family turning cold, even the strongest person would snap. At this point, you could say Toni Braxton is still standing, but it's fair to ask, at what cost?
Because at this stage in my life, I'm exhausted on my sister's behavior.
Because emotionally, it seems she's been running on fumes for years. Let's be real. These aren't teenagers fighting over who gets the front seat. These are grown women in their late 40s and 50s, still throwing shade and feuding over paychecks like it's high school cafeteria drama. Money aside, it's clear the Braxton sisters just don't vibe anymore. From blocking each other on social media to dodging family group chats, the entire dynamic has gone toxic. Sources close to the family say Toni's reached her limit. She's tapped out completely. And here's where it gets sad. Before their sister Tracy passed away, the girls promised her they'd keep the peace in her honor. But that promise? Gone. It's worse than ever. Word on the street says not a single Braxton sister showed up to support Tamar at the premiere of her new cooking show. Not one. And the reason? A major blow-up happened just 2 days before the event. Right after that, Towanda went on social media throwing subliminal shade, posting, "To everyone who distanced themselves from me, kindly stay there." You know it's bad when family fights start going public like that. And it didn't stop there. Towanda tied the knot with her longtime partner Sean Hall after 9 years together, a moment that should have been pure joy. Toni and Trina were right there by her side as bridesmaids, smiling for the photos. But Tamar? Nowhere to be seen. It was obvious that lines were being drawn and sides were being picked. Even during the later seasons of their reality show, the tension was unbearable. During one on-camera moment, someone asked Towanda how she felt about being distant from Tamar. And before Towanda could even answer, Tamar cut in saying, "Towanda just doesn't care about me." The silence after that, chilling. You could feel the heartbreak and bitterness through the screen. And if you thought this family drama was cooling down, oh no, it's heating up faster than ever. Tamar came right out and said it. She's always the one reaching out first, while Towanda only calls when the cameras are rolling.
Matter of respect. I respect where people are. That's just
Is that where
I respect where people are. I don't engage. I don't pour into certain types of energy. I make different choices in my life. And that's just where I am.
And that hit deep. Towanda, though, She didn't bite her tongue either. She clapped back saying, and I quote, "I don't pour into certain vibes anymore." Translation: she's done extending that sisterly grace. Towanda made it crystal clear that her only focus now is her household, her kids, her peace, and her man, period. Now here's the twist. Even though Towanda has always tried to come off as the calm, level-headed one, fans are starting to realize she's been playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. There's been tension bubbling for years. Sources say she leaned heavily on Toni during her divorce, especially when her finances got tight. And while that's normal, helping family through tough times, Toni's recent energy screams something different. It's giving, "I held you down when you were broke, but where were you when I was falling apart?" Fans online are taking sides like it's a reality show finale. Some claim Towanda's always had a problem with Tamar's personality, while others insist it's jealousy. Plain and simple, because Tamar's career took off in ways the others didn't. But this isn't just about two sisters going back and forth, it's shaking the whole family tree. Even Toni, the one who's always been the glue holding them together, is finally pulling away. After decades of supporting, paying bills, and keeping everyone afloat, the emotional burnout is starting to show. Some insiders even whisper that all this chaos could be worsening her health problems. And social media has been eating this drama up. One fan commented, "We didn't want the Braxtons to return just to watch them fighting again. We wanted love and healing." Another wrote, "Sometimes you need a break from family before you break completely." And one that really hit hard said, "Toni is owed so much, emotionally, financially, spiritually. She deserves peace." Then came the comment that sparked a whole new debate. Someone said, "This all started with their parents, especially their mama. She created this competition." And honestly, that's a conversation that's been long overdue, because when you look at the root of the Braxton family drama, it always circles back to how they were raised, the expectations, the favoritism, and the pressure to perform. But before we dig into that, we have to rewind a bit, because the real heartbreak in all this wasn't just the fighting or the fame. It was Tracy Braxton. Before her passing in 2022, Tracy had already carried a lifetime of hurt and disappointment. Her story is where the cracks in this family truly started to show. And what happened to her might just explain why the Braxton bond will never be the same again.
All time, everybody has a narrative of, we left Tracy behind. We signed without Tracy. Right. Now that part is true. We did sign without Tracy. But the fact is this, we signed in August. Tracy was pregnant with little Kevin. Back in the 90s, you could not be a female and be pregnant. And what they said is they want every woman to want to be like you and for every man to want to be with you. That was it. And honest to God, me and Trina was like, damn, we don't want to sign. Tracy was like, go ahead.
Y'all remember how Tracy Braxton got cut out of those early music deals just because she got pregnant too young? That wound ran deep. Even though she smiled for the cameras and tried to play it cool, everyone who really paid attention could feel that pain still sitting in her heart. She never fully healed from it. Not emotionally, not spiritually. And that pain didn't just fade away. It changed how she connected with her sisters, especially Toni. Their relationship was complicated. It wasn't your typical sister drama about who borrowed whose clothes. This was layered, full of love, but also resentment, guilt, and sadness. They cared for each other, no question about that, but the love had bruises all over it, bruises that never had a chance to fully heal. Now that Tracy's gone, all that unspoken tension still lingers like a shadow in the Braxton family home. So when Toni talks about feeling dried up, she isn't just talking about money. She's talking about grief. She's drained emotionally, weighed down by guilt, regret, and the emotional scars that fame and family fights can't cover up.
Makes it a little more difficult. Sometimes I wake up every morning and I go, oh, did I dream it? Did I dream it? And I have to remind myself, no, she's gone, but she's been here with us for 50 years. So I try to relish in that moment. And try to smile about it and just be grateful for the time you have. And you have to always remember to be kind to one another. We're sisters, so we're always going to fight. That's what sisters do, okay? It's the rite of passage to fuss and fight, but in the end, we're always there.
When Braxton Family Values first aired, fans thought it was a win, a comeback, a celebration, a way for the world to see their bond. But behind the smiles and confessionals, it was tearing them apart. Imagine already having beef with your family, and now there's a camera crew capturing every tear, every argument, every cold stare, and broadcasting it to millions. That's not healing, that's turning pain into primetime TV. At one point, Toni quietly said, "I don't want to be the strong one anymore." That line hit millions of women in their chests. You could hear the exhaustion in her voice, not just from fame, but from being everyone's rock for so long. Every oldest daughter, every big sister who's had to hold it all together for their family. They felt that. That wasn't a quote. That was a cry for help. Meanwhile, Tamar seems ready to move forward, trying to find peace and rebuild bridges. But Towanda's silence, it's loud. And that quiet tension says more than any post or statement ever could. With Tracy gone, Toni's realizing that time doesn't wait. And no matter how strong you've been, you can't fight forever. And just when you think the Braxton drama might be slowing down, surprise! The streets are buzzing again. Word is that Tamar just dropped a major twist for the next season of the Braxtons. She's bringing in none other than her niece, Ashley Braxton, Tracy's daughter. Oh, you know it's about to get messy. Because bringing in Tracy's child, that's not just a casting choice. That's reopening a whole emotional chapter that never really closed. This latest twist, it's shaking the Braxton world to its core. Bringing Ashley Braxton onto the show isn't just a casting choice, it's like lighting a match in a room full of fireworks. Because Ashley isn't some random niece in the background. She's the niece who once dropped a story that flipped the entire Braxton family upside down. Let's rewind for a second. Years ago, when Ashley was just 16 years old, she came forward with a disturbing claim, saying that Trina's then-husband, Gabe, had been sending her inappropriate texts. We're talking about a grown man crossing serious lines with a teenage girl. Ashley did the right thing. She told her parents immediately. They, in turn, went to Trina, expecting her to protect her niece and take action. At first, Trina responded with love. She comforted Ashley, apologized, and made it seem like she believed her. But over time, that support started fading. The empathy turned into silence. The silence turned into shade, and before long, it was full-on blame. Allegedly, Trina began telling people that Ashley should have known better, implying she somehow played a part in what happened. Can you imagine? A 16-year-old being made to feel guilty for something a grown man did? And it didn't stop there. Rumors say Trina eventually cut Ashley off completely. No calls, no texts, no family invites, nothing. Ashley was isolated, heartbroken, and carrying that trauma alone for years while the rest of the family avoided the topic like it never happened. Now fast forward to today, Tamar's decided to bring Ashley back into the spotlight by giving her a real role on the new season of The Braxtons. Not a cameo, not a one-off, a full spot in the cast. Tamar says she did it to show love and solidarity, wanting Ashley to know that at least one person in the family has her back. She's even been saying behind the scenes that this season is about healing and truth. But come on, this is the Braxtons we're talking about. Nothing ever happens without a storm following close behind. The minute news broke about Ashley joining the show, things got explosive. Production sources say filming had to be paused again because the sisters were at each other's throats. Some insiders believe Tamar's intentions were good. She wanted to give Ashley her voice back. But others, they think Tamar's stirring the pot for drama, knowing this old wound would send the family spinning. And honestly, both might be true. Because now, the Braxton family's biggest secret, one they've avoided for years, is about to play out in front of the cameras for the world to see. And with Ashley stepping into the spotlight, this season isn't just messy, it's dangerously personal. But according to Tamar, this move wasn't about stirring the pot. She swears it's deeper than that. She said she brought Ashley onto the show because she wanted her niece to finally feel seen, to know that not everyone in the family turned their back on her. Maybe it's about healing old wounds, or maybe it's a setup for another emotional storm. Either way, it's about to change everything for the Braxtons. Because this isn't just about adding a niece to a reality show, this is about decades of silence, pain, and finger-pointing finally bubbling to the surface. This is about the conversations that were never had, the apologies that came too late, and the guilt that's been sitting heavy in Toni's chest for years. It's about somebody, finally, saying, "I'm not holding this in anymore." Now, whether this moment brings healing or completely tears the family apart, that's what we're about to see. One thing's for sure, this upcoming season of the Braxtons might just be the realest, rawest, and possibly the last one we'll ever get. Because when the lights go out and the cameras stop rolling, all that's left is the truth. And for Toni Braxton, that truth has been heavy for far too long. She's carried the fame, the finances, the family, and the pain, and now it's time for everyone else to finally face what she's been holding together for decades. So what do you think? Is Tamar really trying to heal the family? Or is this just another messy twist in their never-ending drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more celebrity deep dives. And make sure you click the next video you see on your screen for even more explosive celebrity drama. See you in the next one.